before 2010, the only way you paid for health benefits would be if your district negotiated it. We had many districts that had already negotiated paying something, or paying for dental, or paying for something. We always had a lot of those. In 2010, the legislature decided to get involved, and Governor Christie decided to get involved. And they basically created a law that forced all school employees who were getting health benefits from their employer to pay 1.5% of their salary towards the health benefits. Okay. And that lasted only 1 year. In 2011, Chapter 78 was put in June 28th, 2011. And what that did is that is going to increase the contributions. 1.5 became the bottom, the floor, and then you paid up from there. And it was a 4-year build-in, depending on when your contract ended. And eventually you got to what's called Tier 4. And everybody is on Tier 4 right now, unless you've negotiated not to be. But most people are on Tier 4, which means you are paying a percentage of the premium of the plan that you have. And that percentage is a number that is based on your salary and the level of benefits you're taking. And then if you make more than a $5,000, you go over a $5,000 threshold, it goes up. So you could be paying 2% more. And what we started to find when people got to Tier 3 and 4, they were getting what's called negative net. And that means their take home was actually less, even though they got a raise. Their take home was less this year than last year. And it just continued. So very simply, what ended up happening was we had all these issues where people were making less money. In 2015, we started our Take Back Your Paycheck campaign, which basically is educating members, especially what Chapter 70 is, what it's doing, what's going on, and how to basically beat it. And the only way to beat it at that point was to negotiate. And once you were done moving through the Tier 4, you could start negotiating. And then since 2015, we've had about a third of our locals that have actually negotiated a change or a modification in Chapter 78. Now, how did they get those? Well, they gave up salary, they gave up benefits, they gave up time. There's only so many things you can give up in a negotiation. And locals gave up all those things to get some Chapter 78 relief. And we also had 2 other bills we put in with at the same time. This was our arbitration or due process bill, and then also privatization, both for our ESP members. Designed, the arbitration was that if a ESP member was they were trying to fire that ESP member, we would have process that they had to go through. Before this, you were at the will of the district, depending on your contract. And then also privatization. And privatization has been a huge problem with our ESPs, especially with budget problems and pension problems, because they would find that they could save a lot of money by privatizing our ESPs, because it wasn't just the salary. It was also pension. It was also health benefits. It was other things. So we needed some protection from that also. And the goal for this bill was to make sure that employers can still privatize, but they can't do it in the middle of a contract. They have to wait for the contract to get over. So we're going to talk about those also. As we go through, in 2018, we were able to get a NJEA endorsed governor, Governor Murphy. He actually campaigned on the idea that he would get Chapter 78 relief. And then we also started, part of our campaign was to talk to legislatures and tell them about what they called unintended consequences. And what that means is they didn't expect your paycheck to go down every year. They knew you were paying something, but they never expected it to basically be a drag where it was going to get more and more and more, and you were going to be taking home less, if not less money than the year before. They also never realized that if you do this to people, we have less people becoming teachers and becoming educators because, you're making less and less money. They never imagined. And they never imagined that our ESPs, by not having due process, would basically be fired for no reason anytime they wanted to get rid of somebody. So these were all things that they said they didn't know. Our job as educators was to educate them. Finally, in 2018, we got S2606 put in. And this was put in the Assembly or the Senate and the Assembly. Basically, what it did is 4 things we were looking to get. Number 1, decouple the premiums. What that means is to get them away from paying a percentage of the premium. Premiums are impossible to control without changing the benefits. And members, if you're tied to the premium, you are going to continue to pay more and more every year. And again, because you're in the premium, sometimes you will pay more than your raise. We also wanted to make sure that we could track this. This has been a nightmare for us in research, especially. How do we track how much you're supposed to be paying? When do districts take it out? How much? It has been crazy with Chapter 78 because there was no rules. Districts could do it any way they want, and BAs made this stuff up as they went along. They just decided, here's how we're going to do it. There were no rules. We also wanted a quality health plan, what the Affordable Care Act calls a platinum health plan. And then we also wanted to protect collective bargaining so that what we had negotiated would still be in effect in most cases, as you'll see. Okay, so these were our ultimate goals of S2606. Now, I can think this was called the 3-4-5% because it was 3% of your salary, 4% of your salary, or 5% of your salary, depending on what level you were taking. This is kind of like the beginning of negotiations. This is what we wanted, and we were going to work from there. Okay, then we were able to finally work with a couple of legislators to get 2 other bills put in. And that, again, was our arbitration bill and the anti-privatization bill. So they were put in also in the summer of 2018. At the same time, Senator Sweeney started coming up with what he called a path to progress. Most of our members called a path to poverty. And what it would do is it would leave Chapter 78 exactly the way it was. So in other words, you would keep paying a percentage of the premium. That wasn't going to change. And then on top of that, he wanted to change your plan, all the plans in the state, from what are called platinum plans by the Affordable Care Act, and drop them down to gold plans. And a gold plan, basically what it is, a gold plan means that not only do you pay the Chapter 78, but then you pay 20% of all the in-network costs. So if you go to the doctor and it's $100, you pay $20. If it's $200, you pay $40. If you go for an x-ray and it's $1,000, you pay $200. So you pay 20% of everything in network. By the way, the funny part is in network is not what costs the most money. Out of network, which is what it does. So we touted this as being some huge savings. All it was going to do is make our members pay more and more and more. He went down around the state doing town halls, and of course, our members went to those town halls also. The problem that we had was he was gaining momentum in the Senate. There actually were senators who were saying, hey, gold's not bad. Gold is the standard. Why you don't need platinum? Gold is what most people have, so you should only get gold. We started hearing that, which was very concerning. Okay. And then, of course, we also continued with our plan to educate and go through, tell these people exactly the way it was supposed to be. Oops, sorry, jumped too far. We also had a meeting in September of 2018, right after that summer, with all the affiliates. Every president was invited to come to East Brunswick, which has only happened a couple times in NJA's history. And we did that, and we started a campaign to sign petitions. You guys got 116,000 signatures on a petition. So that was pretty impressive. We also started, again, the Take Back Your Paycheck campaign. We continued that. You guys remember all this. We did Red for Ed. We had rallies. We did scarves and we gave out mats, signs, banners. We did mall walks. It was pretty amazing, all the things that we actually created. There was a postcard campaign. Every workshop we did, we handed out postcards and we sent them to other members. We sent them to legislatures. We had lunch and learns where I sat in lunchrooms and NJEA staff sat in lunchrooms and local leaders sat in lunchrooms and talked about all this stuff. Take action efforts on njea.org. We visited legislators' office and lobby days. So a lot of stuff going on to try to get this stuff to go through. Finally, actually working with Senator Sweeney, January and July, we were able to get S2273 introduced and passed in March. And then, as you'll see, the Senate then later on agrees to agree, it's kind of agree to agree, with the assembly version. So the Senate passed their version. The assembly then took this up and they started working on their version. We worked with Senator Coughlin to get this done, and he created A20 that was introduced, and that was passed in June 29th. There were some differences, so the Senate then agreed to the changes that the assembly had done. So by June 29th, this was all done in the legislature, and July 1, the governor signs this bill. Okay, and this was the Chapter 78 bill that got through. Okay. We also recently have been able to get the arbitration due process was passed pretty after that. And then we just had the subcontracting bill, which is for K-12s and also for our state colleges, and community college. I'm sorry, for community colleges. The state colleges, we're still working on that. There's still some hangups, but all the K-12s and the community colleges are part of that bill. Okay. So some of the highlights here of this plan. Now, number one, every member in every district, whether it's SEHBP or not, will have access to the New Jersey Educators Health Plan. And a vast majority, very few who pick it will not, but a vast majority, if you choose that plan, will get lower Chapter 78 amounts. Okay. So we're going to show you that. We compare it to in this case, to the NJ Direct 10. We'll show you how much money you would save roughly. Again, your district may be a little different depending on what your base plan would be. We'll talk about that also. Members hired before July 1, 2020 have a choice. You can stay with the plans you have bargained. So if you've bargained Direct 10 or 15 as being your base, Direct 10 and 15 are still going to be there. You will still have them and you can still choose them. And if you take them, you're going to pay whatever the Chapter 78 owes on those. We also, something else that's important, that the network for New Jersey Educators Plan will be the same as the 10 and the 15. So I know a lot of you probably had questions saying, are my doctors going to be in this new plan? The answer is, if they're in 10 and 15, they're in this plan. The networks are exactly the same, both in New Jersey and out of New Jersey. So again, the networks are not an issue. It's going to be the same as you've always had. Now, there were some changes to the SEHBP, and these took effect now. These are in your plan. They actually started August 1st. This is only for out-of-network, and it's only for these three providers: chiropractors, acupuncture, and physical therapy. Just those. Now, the state workers had agreed to this back in, I believe it was 2016. But what was happening is these three types of providers, had learned the system. And the system was that realistically, the more they charged for procedures, the more money they got. So they did what people will do, and they decided to drive their costs up, thereby driving their payments up. And chiropractors, acupuncture, and physical, were doing this for years. And so basically, there had to be a stop to it. Now, this was going to probably happen legislatively, but it ended up happening by this, and I'll explain to that in a minute. So let's show you how this works. If you go to an out-of-network chiropractor, that chiropractor for that visit is going to get $35. That's what they're going to get. You're going to pay a percentage of whatever they got paid. So if they got paid $35, you're going to pay the 20 or 30%, depending on the plan you're in, of that number. They're going to get $35. But because they're out of network, they can balance bill you for whatever the difference between the 35 and what they wanted to get paid. So again, these are what's set. Now, physical therapy, I have a lady, and I can tell you this, I had a lady who called me. She's an NJ Direct 10. And she says, I go to an out-of-network physical therapist. Before August, what was happening is he was charging me $150. I was paying it and submitting the bill to Horizon. Horizon was then paying me back $108. So I was paying $42 for a visit to the physical therapist. Is that going to be the same? And the answer is no, it's not. You're still, if this physical therapist still demands that money, you're going to pay the $150. But now that physical therapist overall is going to get $52, and you're paying, if you're an NJ Direct 10, 20% of this. So it's going to be a little over $10 you're going to pay. So she's going to get a check back for $41.80. She's going to pay then, she paid $150, she got back 41 and change. She's going to be paying, $109. So she's going to be paying that rather than getting it. So this could be expensive. You should have gotten a card if you used in the last year out-of-network chiropractor, acupuncture, and physical therapy. You should have gotten a card telling you those providers are now out-of-network. They're going to be getting less money, so you might have to pay more money. The other thing with this is if you go in network, as you'll see, these are still the same copays. This is only out of network. So I suggest you talk to these providers, say, here's what you're going to get paid. For this lady, if you're going to charge me $110 roughly every time I come in, I can't come to you anymore. So you either need to charge me less or I'm going somewhere else. And by the way, you can make deals. This is the Wild West when it's out of network. So you can make deals with these people. And just so you know, all other aspects, everything else in the SEHBP plans are the same. There will be no changes at all in anything else except for these three things out of network in the Direct 10 and Direct 15. So this is the only change in Direct 10 and 15 now and January 1st. Okay. And this is an article, by the way, just so you understand why this happened. ProPublica wrote this article and we read it. And the problem was our legislators read it and it was absolutely factual that these groups were charging this exorbitant amount of money because they had the SEHBP that was paying this 90th percentile of fair health. That's what they charge. And they were like, wow, if they're going to charge that, we can get our rates up. And we had some of these guys, for example, we had acupuncturists. I've personally seen bills for 1 day visit for $400 and $500. Actually, it's up to $600 for an acupuncturist. It was amazing what they were charging. And this one group was 11 million just for physical therapy in these 10 clinics in 1 year. And we also found that, as I told you, the state workers did this a few years ago. State workers, for example, when they went to the physical therapist, the physical therapist was charging 119, but when you went to the SEHBP, they were charging 351. So they're driving their rates up. So very simply, it's incredible what they were doing. They got caught. And so if they are crying the blues because of this, realistically, it's their own fault. If they wouldn't have been so greedy, it wouldn't have happened. Okay. So they're the only changes that I have to worry about in the 10 and the 15. Now, come January 1, all other plans but these three, NJ Direct 10, 15, and the Educators Plan, the new one we're talking about, all other plans are going to be dropped. So these are the only three going to be offered. And then there's going to be a fourth plan added July 1 of 2021 called the Garden State Plan. So again, these are all that's going to be. And right now there's about 13 plans in the SEHBP. You're not only going to have the option of these three in January and then this one. Now, you might want to say, what's happening now? Well, until December 31st, whatever plan you've signed up for already, you're going to continue in that plan until December 31st. And then January 1, you will get the plan that you sign up for, and there's an open enrollment coming. Whatever plan you sign up for, that's the one you're getting. And we'll see if you don't sign up, you're getting the New Jersey Educators Plan. But we're going to talk about that in a minute. Okay. So let's talk about the New Jersey Educators Plan. In network, copays are going to be primary care is $10. All specialists, including chiropractic, acupuncture, physical therapy, in network are $15. Emergency room will be $125. Now, obviously, that's a big jump from the 25 for NJ Direct 10 and the 50 for NJ Direct 15, and we'll talk about that in a second. Urgent care is 15, and this is not new to New Jersey Educators Plan, or sorry, this is not new to the SEHBP. 10% co-insurance in network. So if I go for an ambulance, like this emergency transport, and it's $200, I would get a bill for $20. Private duty nursing is another thing you get the bill for. Durable medical equipment is like crutches and insulin pumps and CPAP machines and wheelchairs. You would pay 10% of it. That was all happening already. That's not new. That's been in 10 and 15 for a long time. And now here's the important part, because I know people are looking at this 125 going, man, that could cost me a fortune. Well, it actually can't, mainly for this reason. The out-of-pocket maximum for one person is $500 and the family is $1,000. So in other words, if I go to the emergency room 4 times, I don't pay anymore. Now, hopefully you never need 4 emergency room visits, but this $500 would be all of your copays plus the 10% of co-insurance. So once you paid $500, you would be done paying. And if your family, no matter how many people in your family, when they pay $1,000, you'd be done paying. Now, NJ Direct 10, by the way, just so you know, was $400 and $1,000. So this is only $100 more that you could possibly pay in that year. And just so you understand, the Direct 15 had a $6,500 number here. Now, nobody ever paid $6,500, but you could pay much more than $500 because you pay $15 every time. You pay $50 every time you went to the emergency room. You could build up and you could have paid more than $500. And by the way, their family was $13,000. So copays in the 15 plan just continued all year. They never stopped. In this plan, they will stop. Okay. And there's no deductible in network. Okay. Out of network, there's going to be a $350 deductible or $700 for a family that you're going to pay up front. So in other words, that's what you pay before the insurance even kicks in. So that is guaranteed. You're going to pay that. So then after that, you will pay 30% of the plan allowances, and the state, the SEHBP, will pay 70%. This is just like the Direct 15, 30 and 70. The plan allowances are different, however. So out-of-network provider in this plan, they're going to pay the provider 200% of whatever Medicare says the payment is. So Medicare says they get $100. This SEHBP would actually pay them $200. So they would get twice what Medicare is. So, and a lot of providers, by the way, will take that. I've talked to a friend of mine who is a president for a physical therapy company, and he told me, man, if I get $200 of 200 times of or 200% of Medicare, I would do it every minute. Not a problem. So a lot of providers will just take this, but here's what can happen, just so you understand. Very simply, 200% of Medicare. So if I go to, let's say I do this now and I'm in Direct 10, here's going to be the difference between, let me do 15 because that's got the 30%. So if I am in NJ Direct 15 right now, and if I continue January, February, and I go for a shoulder operation and I go out of network, my provider's out of network. I know he's out of network, but I want him. I've been told he's really good. So I'm going to go to him. He says, okay, my bill for that procedure is $10,000. Okay. So I have the procedure done. He bills $10,000. The SEHBP under the Direct 15 using it's called the 90th percentile of the Fair Health benchmark. They say no, it's not 10,000. You're only going to get 8. So you will pay 30% of the 8. So you'll pay $2,400. The insurance company will then pay the $5,600 so that the provider gets the $8,000 that the benchmark says he should get or she should get. But here's the problem. The provider can then say, I wanted 10. I only got 8. So you are responsible for the other $2,000. So again, instead of paying just the 30%, the 24, now you've paid $4,400. Now that provider could just say, you know what, 8,000 is enough. I'm happy. I'm not worried about it. So don't worry. Okay. Now, if you take this plan, let's do the same thing, same provider, same thing. Now I get the surgery, 200% of Medicare. Let's say it's $5,000. Again, now I'm going to pay 30%. So I pay $1,500. Well, right now I just saved myself $900. And then the insurance company, they're going to pay $3,500. So that provider has now gotten his $5,000. All right. That provider then can just say, okay, 5,000 is fine. I like that. Or they can say, no, I said 10. I want the other 5,000. So now you would have to pay the 5,000 plus the 1,500 you already paid and pay 6,500. So in this case, you can see you might have to pay more money. Now, again, we already talked about the changes to chiropractic, acupuncture, and physical therapy. They are in this plan also. All SEHBP plans will have this payment. Now, by the way, because this guy's out of network, you can go to him before the surgery and say, listen, I want you to perform my surgery, but I can't afford to be paying you thousands of dollars. What are you going to be taking? What are you getting from the insurance company? What am I going to have to pay? And you can say, well, no, that's too much. I'm not going to get the surgery. I'll go somewhere else. This is up to you. Again, you can negotiate because these guys are out of network. So very simply, don't just say, well, they're going to charge me too much. I won't go there. I would talk to them first and say, here's what I can pay you. I'm not paying you any more than that. If that's fine, I'll continue with your services. If not, I'm going somewhere else. And then I would find an in-network someone if you could, and then pay the $15. And a surgery, by the way, would cost you nothing. So very simply, this is important. Out of network maximum is 2,000, 5,000. That's the same as direct 10 and 15. By the way, just so you understand, that balance billing I was talking about, that extra, that doesn't count towards this money. But all these percentages do. The 200% the 30% of plan allowances count and the deductible count. So right off the bat, if you did this, you've already paid $350 towards the 2,000 or $700 towards the 5,000. But once you pay all that in that plan allowances, you can't pay anymore. Okay? Again, it's both deductible and coinsurance, and balance billing does not count towards that 2,000, 5,000. This also comes with a prescription card. Now, if you have negotiated a different prescription card or you have the prescription card through the SEHBP, it doesn't matter. Even if you have the prescription that is part of the major medical, if you pick this plan, you will have a prescription card. Okay. So very simply, this will have a card. If you have the SEHBP for prescription, they will create a card through Optum. If you have a private prescription plan, which a lot of districts have the SEHBP for medical, but they have a private prescription. If that's true, then your private prescription card is going to have to create a plan that mirrors it or is like this plan. Has to be equivalent to. And here's how this plan is going to work. It's going to have 3 categories of drugs: generic, brand name with no generic, and brand name with a generic available. And if you do the generic, it will be $5 for a prescription up to a 30-day supply at the pharmacy, and it will be $10 at a mail order up to 90 days. If you have a brand name and there is no generic, there's not one or they don't carry one, it will be $10 at the pharmacy for up to 30 days, $20 for mail order up to 90 days. Okay. Now, the third group is the issue. If there's a brand name that you are prescribed or you demand the brand name, and there's a generic that you could take and you say no or refuse, then what's going to happen is you're going to pay not only the copay for the brand name, but the price difference between the generic price and the brand name price. So let me give you an example. There's a drug out there called Coumadin. Coumadin is a blood thinner. Millions of people are on Coumadin. Coumadin is a brand name. There is a generic available called warfarin. Okay. So if I am prescribed Coumadin and I say I want Coumadin, not warfarin, I'm going to pay the $10. Plus, if my pharmacy says the generic price for warfarin is $50 and the brand name for Coumadin is $100, I'm going to pay that difference, that $50 plus the $10 for that prescription. If I take the generic, I pay the generic. Okay. So again, this is designed for you to try the generic drugs if there are one. Now, by the way, the difference between a generic and a brand name is this. The active ingredient is exactly the same, has to be. However, they are different in binders, catalysts. There are things they add to the drugs above the active ingredient. So very simply, we have people who are allergic to some of the binders in the brand name, or I'm sorry, allergic to some of the binders in the generic. So what'll happen is you can appeal, or your doctor can appeal saying, my patient can't take that generic because they have an allergic reaction to it or something. There's basically an appeal. Now, we can't guarantee you're going to win the appeal with Optum or whatever the company that your district would have in a private prescription. However, if it's a medical reason, you've got a good chance. If it's, I don't like generics, then you have no chance. So you have to understand that you could have to pay this difference. But for the most part, again, as long as you're willing to take generics, this plan is actually $5 and $10 at the pharmacy. Okay. Now, there is going to be, again, Optum will be the provider if your district is in the SEHBP for prescription also. If they're not, then it will use whatever prescription company they're using, if it's Benacard or Horizon, whoever it may be. There will be a formulary list created. That formulary list basically tells you what drugs are in what category. This is generic. This is generic this is brand name without generic. This is brand name with generic. It'll tell you what category. So you'll be able to look at the drugs. That formulary is not out yet. However, I'm going to show you some websites later. You can check on the Optum website. They're probably, and we don't have, this is not definite, but this is the same prescription plan that the NJ Direct Zero had. So if you want to go on the NJ Direct Zero and look at that formulary, it's on there for 2020 and see what drugs were covered. It should roughly be the same, but this formulary list should be out, and then we'll be able to do that. And Optum will update their website, and you'll be able to check online what level your drug would be before you do it. Okay. Now, this is also what's called a closed formulary. And that means that they don't have to offer every single drug in every single category. I said blood thinners. There's probably a dozen brand name blood thinners out there. And very simply, they don't have to carry every one. They would carry 2 or 3. They're going to carry the generic if there is the generic, because they want to save money also. So very simply, they're going to have that, but every single drug doesn't have to be on there, but there will be a brand name if there is one, and a generic as we go through. Okay. Now this website is where you can go to look at a comparison of what it's going to be in 2021. This is njea.org/job justice. And I'm going to show you this website later on for some other things also. And this will tell you exactly the 3 plans. Now, your card might be different if you have negotiated a separate card. But if you go into the New Jersey Educators Health Plan, this has to be the card. So very simply, you have to understand that this is only if you're in the SEHBP for a prescription. Yours could be, you could have negotiated something different, but that's what it is. But you can see the comparison here. Okay. This is up on this website, and you can look at it all you want. Okay. That's on there and will stay on there. This is also why people who don't have to take this plan might take it. Well, because you're going to save a lot of money in Chapter 78. Now, whether it's enough is going to be up to you, but you're going to probably save money, because here's how this is going to work. If you take the New Jersey Educators Health Plan, you are no longer tied to the Chapter 78 chart or whatever you've negotiated for Chapter 78. And you're going to be tied to this prescription, or this plan. So let's say I'm making $70,001. I am paying now 5%, or about $3,500 for my Chapter 78. Now I could be paying much more than that. I could be paying 5, 6, 7,000, but I am just paying this 3,500. Now, as my salary goes up, what I will pay will go up. But until I get out of that $10,000 range, I'm going to stay at 5%. That means every year I can look at my salary guide and say, oh, that's how much I'm going to pay next year. That's how much I'm going to pay the year after that. And you will know exactly what it's going to be, and your paycheck will go up. Okay. Now, so this is, and you will only pay on the medical prescription because you're an SEHBP. Unless you've negotiated it, you will not pay on dental and vision. You should just be paying this of your salary. So that should be all you pay. Okay. And this again is tied in. So you can see how much is my salary going to be? What level am I taking? Do the math, multiply. That's how much you're going to pay. In July of 2021, there's going to be that other plan I said that's added, which is the Garden State Plan. And the Garden State Plan will be an option for everyone. Its benefit levels will be the same as the New Jersey Educators Plan. It's going to be pretty much the same thing, except for two things. Number one, only providers in New Jersey, Garden State, will be in this. So if you go to New York doctors and Pennsylvania doctors, this probably won't be a plan you want to look at. But if you stay in New Jersey, that would be fine. Now, the question I always get is, how about providers that are from outside New Jersey, like University of Pennsylvania, that have offices in New Jersey? And the answer is simple. We don't know yet. This plan has not been created. But again, this is not till July 1st. Okay, so we don't know how that's going to work. Now, why would you pick this plan? By the way, because it's optional. And then here's the reason. Because the chart I showed you, if you take the Garden State Plan, there's going to be another chart. But the lowest you can do is 1.5. So let's say I was at for 5% I was talking about earlier. If I take the Garden State Plan, I'm only paying 2.5%. If I'm up here and I'm paying 6, now I'm paying 3. But if I'm at 1.7, the lowest I can pay is 1.5. So this would be 1.5, this would be 1.5, this would be 1.5, this would be 1.65. So you get to see 1.5 would be the lowest you can do. But again, this would be cut in half down to 1.5. Oops. Okay. So what do these changes mean? Number one, there's only going to be 3 plans come January 1st. They will all be by Horizon. So all 3 Horizon, they're all Blue Cross Blue Shield. All other plans are eliminated. So if your local has negotiated the 1525 or the 2030 to be your base, you're going to have to negotiate a change to one of these 3 being your base plan. Okay. And if you're in the SEHBP, we could probably get this out of here. But if you negotiated the 2035, then you would have to negotiate. So if you were the 10 or the 15 base, those are both more expensive than the New Jersey Educators Plan. But we do have a district I know that negotiated the 2035 as their base. If that's true, then they're going to have to negotiate because the 2035 come January 1 is no longer an option. They would have to go into one of these 3 plans as their base and then talk about what they've agreed to in that negotiation. Okay. All new members now hired after July 1. Now, this is not exactly all new members. So just so you understand, if I was hired in June as a teacher or an aide and I didn't start until September 1, that is going to be after July 1. So if I was hired after or I started after July 1, 2020, I'm going to be a new member. And that means that I have to take the New Jersey Educators Health Plan come January 1. I will then get the option of the Garden State Plan, and I will have to stay in those plans. By the way, you can switch back and forth between those 2, but I must stay in one of those plans until December 31st of 2027, and then I can switch. But very simply, new members, again, if somebody went from one district to another, they are now a new member. I don't care if they've been teaching or they've been in the classroom for 30 years. They are now a new employee. So new employees are new members. That's how this is working. Okay. The NJEA is going to be the same providers in and out. It will still offer the direct primary care medical homes in all plans. So that is where your primary care doctors are no copay. You get better coverage with them. The doctors have agreed to take less patients. It's a great plan. In the Northwest, it would be Paladina. And down, if you're farther south, it would be Our Health. I suggest you look into those. Those are great programs. The wellness program will continue. It will stay in all the programs, including the New Jersey educators. There's a couple new things that have just added. This Hinge program is a online therapy for joint and hip therapy to really help with pain. That's a new program. It's on the SEHBP website, and I'm going to show you a link to that also. And there's also a thing called, problems of working from home. Amino, which is a new program where it helps you find doctors in the plans. And there's actually an app for your phone. There's a website and an app, and you can download it, have it on your phone where you can look for this. And these are brand new, just added to the SEHBP. Okay. Now, here's how it's going to work for the members. If you choose in the open enrollment coming up, if you choose NJ Direct 10 or NJ Direct 15, you can have them based on your negotiated agreement. If you've negotiated that you can only take 15, then 15. If you can buy up to 10, then you can get the 10 and you would pay the difference. Same as before with those plans. And if you do those, you're going to pay the Chapter 78 that you've negotiated for those plans. Okay. If you choose the New Jersey Educators Plan, you will pay on the contribution chart, and there's no other contributions. So whatever you've paid, that's what you're going to pay. That's it. Okay. And then if you want to stay in the 10 or 15 or take the 10 or 15, there's an open enrollment coming where you have to affirmatively choose. In other words, if you don't pick the 10 or 15, you're going to be put in the New Jersey Educators Plan January 1. So tell everyone they have to be part of it. If they don't want to go into the New Jersey Educators, they have to do this. Okay, it's important. In negotiations, what can you negotiate? Well, you can negotiate premium sharing for 10 or 15. Again, modify the Chapter 78, change it. And you can change qualifications, like how many hours a week. Right now, to be in the SEHBP, it has to be 25. We have districts who've negotiated 30. And that's probably the limit, because after that, it's the Affordable Care Act. But very simply, we have districts who've negotiated up to 30 hours to start. You can do that. That's up to you. You can't negotiate the levels. You never have been able to negotiate. You can't change the NJ Direct 10 to an NJ Direct 5. You can't change any of the things involved in it. Okay. Now, if you have a private prescription and not in the SEHBP, you can negotiate prescription plans for the 10 and 15, but not for the New Jersey Educators or the Garden State. Those are locked in. No changes to the chart, no changes to the plans. You can't do anything with those for 7 years. Okay, so they're locked in. This is a sample chart. Now we're updating this. I just did the numbers. This is 2020 NJ Direct 10 with the state prescription card. Just so you understand, we've updated these for the 2021. This should be on the website very soon. This is on that same website that I showed you earlier, the Job Justice website. And what it basically gives you an example of, if this is my salary. So this is my salary at NJ Direct 10, taking 2 adults. I would be paying this year $7,917 in Chapter 78. If I take the New Jersey Educators Plan, I'm going to pay $5,700, because now it's only a percentage of my $95,000 salary. So I'd save $2,000. Now, this year, just so you understand, this is a year. You're going to be saving half of this, because this is going to be, only 6 months this year. You're going to be in the regular plan for really the first 6 months, July to December, and then this would be for the second half of the year. But this is what you would owe for the entire year. So obviously this would be half. Okay. But you get to see the savings. And I said, we're updating this for NJ Direct 10, and we're also going to add an NJ Direct 15 with the state's prescription card. So if, again, you have a private card, it'll be a little different, but it gets you pretty close to the idea of what it's going to be. Okay. Wrong way. So retirees, just so you know, and none of you is retired, so hopefully this is an active for the actives. But very simply, if you're a non-Medicare retiree, whether they've been retired or future, you are going into this plan when you retire. Okay, this plan will be for all, and the only plan for all non-Medicare retirees. If they were paying nothing before, they will continue to pay nothing. If they were paying a percentage of the premium, now they're going to go to a percentage of their pension, which will help them also. They will still have the wellness program. They will still have the direct primary care medical homes. And even the other programs I talked about, the Hinge, and will be for non-Medicare retirees. Medicare no change. They're going to continue with the two plans that they have. The Aetna 10 and the Horizon 1525 are the ones most Medicare eligible retirees are in. If they were paying, they're going to pay the Chapter 78. And the reason why that wasn't changed was very simple. When you get to Medicare, most of our Medicare retirees are paying 1.5% of their pension because Medicare premiums are so low. So very simply, they would probably, so we didn't mess with this. It would have probably been a waste. And most of them, if we had agreed to it, we didn't want anybody to have to even think about paying more. But Medicare eligible retirees, there are no changes. The only change there is in that Direct 1525, those changes to chiropractic, physical therapy, and acupuncture. Okay. So again, if you weren't paying, you're not going to pay. If you're going to have to pay, then again, it's going to be a little different if you're a non-Medicare retiree. Okay. Open enrollment. The SEHBP is having open enrollment through all of October. You have that time to fill out the plans. That's when you can pick the 10 or the 15 if you want to do that. Okay. And your district's going to have to offer you the New Jersey educators. It will be there. And all new employees are going to have to choose the New Jersey Educators Health Plan. So they're going to get put in it January 1, whether they enroll or not. But members who have a choice, if they don't pick the 10 or 15, are going to be put in the New Jersey Educators Health Plan. So they are stuck, and that's what they're going to be in. That's going to be for 7 years. Okay, they are going to be in that plan. Again, if you were before, you get the choice. Make sure you basically do this. Again, it will depend on collective bargaining. If a 10 was your base, you can pick them. If 15 was your base, you'll have to pick that. Again, I don't know what's in your collective bargaining agreement. Again, or you could pick the New Jersey educators. Okay, it's up to you. Okay, these are people who will have a choice. Okay, now, how do you make a choice? Well, number one, you have to look at what's the plan? Look at the plan. How much do I go to the doctor? How much will my copays go up? How much will I pay more in my prescriptions? Out of network. Do I use out of network providers? If I do, I could pay more. If my out of network provider refuses to give me a break and is going to charge me the full price, I could pay more money. I don't know that. I don't know what your physical problems are. I don't know what your prescriptions are. We have no idea what your ailments are. So we can't help you with this. Now, we will help you figure this out. So, for example, as I told you, we're coming up with those tools to help you figure out what the difference is going to be between what I would be paying if I was in 10 or 15 and what I would pay if I was in New Jersey educators. We also have tools you can use. The SEHBP is going to come up with tools, probably online, where you'll be able to compare. And we have tools. We have a calculator that you can use. You would actually talk to your local president about talking to their field rep, and we could get that calculator made for your district if you have some differences. And you could go on there and say, if I take NJ Direct 10, now I take this, how much money will I save? And you can actually look at that. And of course, we're going to provide all those things. Okay. Can you basically, in the open enrollment, if you try the New Jersey Educators Health Plan, can you get out of it next year? Yes. During the next open enrollment next fall, you could change. The Garden State Plan, if you decide to try that, and there's going to be an open enrollment in the spring, and we're being told it's going to be only for people who want to go in the Garden State Plan. So in other words, you won't have to re-enroll in 10, 15, or the New Jersey educators. Only people that want to go to the Garden State Plan is what we're being told. So then you would start that July, but then there'll be an open enrollment again in the fall, just like there always is. And then January, you can change. So once a year, you could really make a change. Other than that, it would depend on a change of life situation to make that change. Okay. Now, we believe that this is a win-win-win. The state's going to save money, especially with the retirees. Plus, remember this, if you don't know, in the school employees health benefits plan, the state actually pays the bill. They pay all your employers. Now it goes through Horizon, but Horizon makes the payment, but the money comes from the state. So the state will be paying less, plus cheaper for the retirees. Employers are going to be saving money because now all the new employees, plus all the employees who choose to go into that New Jersey Educators Health Plan or the Garden State Plan, it will be cheaper. So they'll save money. And any member that chooses this plan will save money because the Chapter 78 differences. Okay. Now, the Assembly added a couple things I'll do very quickly. They have to guarantee there's $300 million a year in savings. Now, the first year, that's easy. It's just the change will do that immediately. But after that, they want to make sure they're saving their $300 million. In June, they're going to 2023, they're going to look at it and say, are we saving the $300 million? If they're not, they can make some changes to the chart or the plan. If they are, then these plans and the chart will stay intact until December 31st of 2027, and all plans will stay locked in until then. And finally, it's been 5 years of fighting, been doing all this to get the arbitration and the due process and Chapter 78 relief, and now all three are done. And of course, as you know, NJEA will move on to something new, probably the elections coming up, obviously. Okay. So a couple things I'm going to do. This is the contact information for the Division of Pensions and Benefits. I'll leave this up for a minute. This is their website, and this is the phone number. This is NJEA's website and our phone number. Again, if you want to talk about this, it would be option 1 after that. And this is the website for the the Job Justice, where all those charts I showed you are. So these are the phone numbers you can actually do. If you want to take a picture of that page, you can. If not, you can go on to the Job Justice site, and some of this stuff is there. And this PowerPoint, once we do it, it's going to be on the Job Justice site once we get the PowerPoints up and fully refined. Okay. A couple other things. These are all contact information for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Horizon, the website and their phone number. Optum, if you are in the state plan for prescription, their phone number, and obviously you don't need Medicare retirees right now. Amino, this is their website, and the Hinge. I wish they got a shorter website, but that's theirs right now. And then Paladina and Our Health. These are all websites you can do. So if you want to take a screenshot or find those, these are all on the SEHBP the New Jersey Division of Pensions and Benefits website under Health Benefits Active. And then you can find all this information, because this is where I got all this information. Okay. So I'm going to let me go leave this page up. And if you want me to switch pages, you can put it in the questions and answers, and I can put a different page up so you can look at something. Okay. So we're going to start going through the questions. Okay. So this question is, if I am going to retire this December, how will that work? Because I have to choose now for this 4 months, or I choose the New Jersey Educators. Well, here's how it's going to work. If you're in an SEHBP district and if you're retiring, if you're retiring December 1, then you're going to basically stay in whatever plan through December. It depends on when you're retiring. If you're retiring January 1, you're going to stay in whatever plan you have, as long as it's the 10 or the 15 in active. So you would fill out a open enrollment form for whatever plan you want for January, because you said December. So if you're retiring, I'm assuming you're going to retire January 1, because most people do. Let's say you're retiring January 1. You're going to keep your active benefits for January, because that's how SEHBP works. Okay. So whatever plan you sign up for an open enrollment, you'll have in January. February 1, they're going to switch you, if you're under 65, to the New Jersey Educators Health Plan. If you're over 65, then you'll have to pick either the Aetna plan or the Horizon 1525. Okay.
Michael, if I
Yep.
could just make
Yeah, Dan.
one
Of course.
announcement. So I see there's three people in the among our attendees who have raised their hands.
Okay.
If you have questions to ask, could you put them in the Q&A section for us? Thanks. Or put your hand down if you click that accidentally.
Okay. Thanks, Dan. I appreciate that. All right. I have a retirement date of 1/1/20 and plan on getting the 1525 Horizon plan. Do I need to complete any forms during the open enrollment? So you spoke about summer. So basically, if you're retiring 1/1/20, again, you're going to keep the 1525. That's still going to be around till December 1st. December 1st, you're going to get really complicated. December 1, you're going to be able to pick the New Jersey, the 10 or 15, the plans that you have in retirement. But then on 1/1, they're going to switch you to the New Jersey Educators Plan. So you're going to have to complete the form to stay in the 1525 for that'll take you through November. Then you're going to have to fill out a form for December, and then they're going to switch you over in January. Yeah, I'm sorry. Anonymous attendee, you're going to have an issue. I'm sorry to say, it's just going to be a lot of paperwork.
Well, it's not clear how old she was.
Oh, that's true. I'm sorry. Yeah, if you're 65 or older, then you're going to have to pick. You would just pick one of those plans, and you would stay in that plan in January if you're 65 or older. Okay. Thank you, Dan. So the percentage pay contribution on this NJ Direct Doc is not percentage of salary. It looks like it is. I'm struggling with how to compare New Jersey Okay, so in the New Jersey educators, let me go back. This is a percentage of salary. Let me pull that up. Yeah. That's a percentage of salary.
Also, I believe this is a member who had asked me where she could find the percentage of premium contributions on Chapter 78. Right. By the way, that form is not. That's the biweekly state employees. That's not you have to choose the ones that say education employees. Okay. So that's not even the right contributions. Hang
on 1 second. Let me pull this up. I need to move things out of the way. My screen's getting complicated. Let me do this. Hang on. I have that chart somewhere. Okay. So this is the Chapter 78 chart now. So basically, if you look at this, this is a percentage, and you're over here now. This is a percentage of the premium. So what they do is they add up the premium for the medical and the prescription, depending on how you have it, and you pay this percentage of premium. And as the premium goes up, you pay more. And if you go over a 5,000 threshold, like I go from 84,000 to 85,000, I just went from 24 to 26%. This is the current Chapter 78. This is Chapter 78 for the 10 and the 15, unless your local has negotiated a difference. And here's family. Here's two people, member, partner, or parent, children. And then this is single. And these are the percentage you are paying of the premium. That's going to change to a percentage of the premium if you take the New Jersey educators to a percentage of your salary. So this is going to be the change from premium to salary. Okay, that's important. And the salary, of course, is a $10,000, $9,999 in this. And it will be locked in as long as you're in that. So you could get a few raises, especially if you're at the top of the guide and you're up somewhere in this area, probably in your top of your guide, 80, 90,000, maybe more, then you're locked in. And by the way, once you hit this number, the 6.6, if you're, the 7.2, if you're making that much, you're locked in. These numbers actually continue past the 125. Okay. So that's how that works. So hopefully you won't be as confused. Okay. If you retire before 25 years, what will you pay? Well, if you retire before 25 years and you're in the SEHBP, your district, basically you're going to buy health benefits from the state of New Jersey. It is not COBRA. This is different. You're going to buy from the state. The state will offer you to buy at full price. You're going to pay 100% of the premium for the medical and prescription. Again, depending on whether you're under 65 or over 65, depends on what plans you would get. But you're going to be paying full. You will not pay a percentage of the premium because you're paying 100%. Okay, so 25 years is what you need to get any payment towards your health benefits in retirement. My husband is eligible for retirement. He was supposed to have his health benefits without paying for it. I'm confused. Will he have? No. If he had, basically, the rule was if you had 20 years in the pension system, June of 2011, and you retire with 25 years, and the job you retire from is eligible for health benefits, in other words, not a part-time job, you have health benefits offered by the district, you will be premium free. Now, even if you're in the New Jersey Educators Health Plan, you will pay nothing. You're going to have that plan, but you won't have to pay anything because the law says you don't pay. Members that didn't have 20 years, June of 2011, that retire with 25 and are eligible for health benefits in their job, in their last job they have, they will be paying a percentage of premium, or in this, the New Jersey Educators Health Plan, they'll be paying a percentage of their pension in retirement. But your husband, since he made the criteria, will not be paying. You can be added onto his plan and you will not be paying. Okay. To clarify, acupuncture, chiropractic therapy, are the 75% of in-network have to do with the 200%? No, they actually are opposite. They're not part of the 200%. Everyone else, all other providers, is getting 200% of Medicare. Acupuncture, physical therapy, and are getting that set amount or 75% of the in-network. They're not getting the 200% of Medicare. And you can ask them what they're getting. They're going to know what they're getting from the insurance company. I am 66 and eligible for Medicare. So you will not have the New Jersey Educators Health Plan when you retire. If you retire and you are 65 or above, you will then get the choices for that the retirees get for who are Medicare eligible. You will not have this plan in retirement. Are the coverages included with the NJ just at the new benefit level? Yes, everything is exactly the same. As we said, these are changes are, there are no changes to what's covered, like how many chiropractor visits you can have, testing facilities. Everything in this is exactly the same as the NJ Direct 10, except for the pays, the co-pays, the deductibles, and the co-insurance. Everything else is exactly the same, except for what I went over. So if you want to know, is fertility covered? Yes, the same as it was under 10 and 15. Everything is covered just like 10 and 15. What is the full price for this plan? I don't have that right now. I'd have to look that up. I don't have it. We just got that. Let me see if I can. I do have a chart somewhere. Hold on one second. My screen is getting very. Let me see if I can find it. Hang on one second. No, that's a calculator. No, I'm sorry. I don't have it at my fingertips right now, but that will be out soon, but it's not out yet. Oh, hang on. I do have it. Hang on. Let me get it. This is, let me show you. This is the 2021 monthly for for the Direct 10. And this is the prescription card. So that's the monthly for each one of those. And this is the Direct 15. So again, if you're in the SEHBP, that's the both. If you have a separate card, your card might be different. If you do the New Jersey, so this is, but again, if you're doing the New Jersey Educators Plan, you don't need to worry about the premium because you're paying a percentage of your salary, not the premium. Only people have to worry about the premium are people that don't have 25 years that are having to pay the full price. And this is per month, by the way. And this is active. When you retire, these will be different. I don't have the retiree rates. Okay. So I apologize. I am a new retiree, and I, as a former local president, am still getting all the active emails. So I signed up for this webinar. Is there a webinar offer? Yes. If you go to the Job Justice site, the NJEA/Job Justice, you can sign up for retirees. And hi, Deb. I'm Mike Salerno. I worked with you to help you retire. So very simply, yeah, you are now a retiree. So you can go on there and you can listen probably to me say the same thing, but about retirees. But yes, there is a webinar for that also. Okay. I'm asking if I have to pay full price as a retiree. What will it cost? I don't have that on my fingertips right now, to be quite honest with you. I don't even think the SEHBP has it up on their website yet, but it will be up very soon. And then you can do it. Sorry, we don't have that available right this minute. If you call NJEA and then ask someone to have it sent to you, give them your email address, and then we can send that to you. But you would call NJEA for that. And let me put that back up. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Let me put up those phone numbers again. I really need an up and down button on my computer.
Yeah, we do have those figures. Yep. They're just not easy to post right now. But
yeah, I just don't have them, and they're not posted on the SEHBP website, so we don't have them up where we can show them. Okay. What if we currently have if you have a POS plan, then you're not in the New Jersey Educators, you're not in this plan. You're not in the SEHBP. There are no POS plans in the SEHBP. So you have a private district. That means it's going to be different. If you have a private district, and I'll do this real fast, but again, that's a whole different webinar. If you are in a private district, the district has to offer those plans. So you'll get the choice of your POS plan. Or if you don't make a choice or you want to, come January 1, you can go into their New Jersey Educators Health Plan that your provider is going to have to create. And Meryl, you are welcome. All right, we're going to wait for any more questions. Dan, is there anything I missed that I should have said? I've talked a lot.
No, I think we've covered it all.
Okay.
There's still a couple of hands raised.
Okay. So if you're raising your hand, please put the question in the question and answer. I'm going to stay on for another minute or two and wait for any other questions. And then we're going to sign off if I don't get any more questions.
Yeah.
If there's another... I'll go, Dan.
I'm sorry. This has been a lot of material to digest. I know, as we said, we have a lot of this in print, a lot of different documents and Q&As you can look at online on that njea.org/job justice site. The SEHBP is supposed to be putting more stuff up on their site for you to be able to make the proper considerations for which plan you should choose. So there's a lot of stuff out there.
Yeah,
if you whole month of you'll have from now till the end of October to make your choice.
This is the Job Justice site, by the way. And if you go to the bottom of the Job Justice site, this is where you go to sign on to webinars. So Deb, you can sign up here for retirees or actives, questions and answers. And if you continue down, here are the charts we were talking about. We're going to be, again, updating this one for NJ Direct 10 for 2011. We're going to be adding a NJ Direct 15. This is the comparison chart, and this is the plan with the contribution chart, and this is just the contribution chart. This bottom one, this is for retirees. This is the non-Medicare retirees and a sample savings of what we say they're going to save. Again, this is going to be updated for 2021 also, but that's what that website looks like. Okay.
So there's some more questions in the Q&A now.
Get them out of there. Okay. Because I retire 11/1/20, I will be covered by the District Direct 10 Horizon through December. Yeah, you're going to be covered through November. December 1st, 1 month later, is when you will start in the retired plans. And this is where I said it's going to get crazy for you, I'm sorry to say. So you're going to have whatever you sign up, have with the district until till November 31st. Then 30th, sorry. Then you're going to switch over to whatever you sign up for in retirement for 1 month for December. And then January 1, if you're under 65, they'll switch you over to the New Jersey educators. If you're 65 or older, the plan you have in December will continue into January and then continue on from there. So it really depends. I don't know how old you are as we go through this. All right. I am a brand new employee as of 9/1. Can I sign up during open enrollment to take effect of the January 1, or must I sign up for a plan now? Well, you're going to have a plan with your district now, and that is going to take effect. That should be effect now, and it should last until December 31st. And then on the 1st of January, you will be moved to the New Jersey Educators Plan because you're a new employee. Our district has Aetna. Will they offer this? Yeah, Aetna has to. Again, you are a private district. You're not the SEHBP. So private districts have to offer all the plans that they already have. Plus, Aetna is going to create a Aetna New Jersey Educators Health Plan, which they use their network and their stuff. And that plan has to be equivalent to this one. They have to create a prescription card that matches this one. So again, you're going to have to wait for Aetna to come out with their plan so you can see that. Okay. And Deb, you're welcome. And it's nice to talk to you again. Okay. Again, I'm going to wait another minute or two. Is the paperwork that needs to complete it in MBOS? Well, the open enrollment for this is not. Your district will be sending out your open enrollment, probably be emailing it to you. If you are retiring, then the paperwork to fill out for a plan is on there. I'm not sure when they're changing the forms because some of them are going to need to get changed because they don't have the New Jersey Educators Health Plan on there. But you can go on, if you're retiring, go to the Division of Pensions and Benefits website. Let me actually pull that up. You'd go to the Division of Pensions and Benefits website. You can do health benefits, retirees, and then go down. Well, actually, let me do it easier. Let me do it easier for you. You can just go, let me go back. You can go to publications and forms, and then retirees, and then health benefits. And here are the plans. So if you're not Medicare, you want the local education. If you're Medicare, you want the local education. And those are the applications you will need for health benefits and retirement. The dental plan is over here. So one of those two, and then the dental. And if you're waiving, there's a waive form down here. Okay. So those are where you would get those forms. And you are very welcome for everybody. Okay, again, we're going to hold on for a couple minutes. Will the Lehigh Valley hospitals be, if they're in the direct 10 and 15, which I believe those are, then they will be in this plan. It's, again, same network. It's the same network in and the same network out. Aetna was going to have to do the same thing. So Aetna is going to have to cover whatever. So if Aetna covers it, it's going to have to be in there. If you're in the state plan, anything that Horizon 10 and 15 was in network will be in network for this plan also. If you're in a private district, we don't know yet. We have to wait and see what plan, the plan and what networks they use, but they have to use one of their best networks. They can't use just a slipshod network. The law says it must be a robust network. What that means, I don't know, but we'll go from there. Great. I'm glad you got a lot of it. You're quite welcome. And again, this webinar will be again, so you can sign up for this. I only think there's one more SEHBP for Northwest because there's not a lot of Northwest districts that have the SEHBP for September. We will obviously be running these in October, but we don't have a schedule for those yet. All right. All right. Oh, and you're welcome. Hello, Robin. How are you? Glad to hear from you. And okay, well, I'm going to be shutting down. Thank you, everybody, for being part of this. We appreciate your time. And thank you very much, and have a good day.
Okay, yeah, thanks, everybody.
Okay.
Have a great weekend.